Probably help if I turn my mic off mute. Good evening. The Euros have finished. England 1, Spain 2, and let's be brutally honest, the best team won, the best team of the whole tournament, the best team tonight by a country mile, a team that wanted to play football versus a team managed by Gareth Southgate. Only England could get to a final, stick 10 men behind the ball, then get back into it with a really well-worked goal and then retreat into their own half again. Only England with Saka, Foden, Mainu, Rice, Bellingham, Kane, Palmer, Tony, Watkins, Eze, Gordon. Only the manager with those players could play such negative football. I'm going to welcome into the channel Stel. If I don't know, it's not working. Stel, you there? He's there. There he is. How you doing, man? You will? Hello.
Hey, Sava, can you hear me?
Yeah, man. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Bit gutted by the result, but it was kind of expected, I guess, if we were real about it. If we're honest about it, Spain have been the best team by far. Best team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they won all 7 games. It's just been announced that Rodri is player of the tournament. And no surprises, Yamal is young player of the tournament. And I think, look, from game 1, I mean, they've played Croatia, Italy, Germany, England, France. That route to the final, you would have to say that they deserve to win it, right? I know there's lots of people who are very patriotic, but look, I want to start by talking about the tactics still. And by the way, if you haven't subscribe to Tottenham Away, subscribe to Football Heritage TV, smash that like button, you tight people. By the way, there is a link pinned. The link is pinned for a 24-hour charity event that we're doing Saturday, 10 a.m. through to Sunday, 10 a.m. So far, we've raised, only made the link today, we've raised £105. If you do want to donate, please do. It is all to do with mental health and prevention of suicide for men. So please, it's a really good cause. Aside from all the football we might row about, it's a really good cause. So the link is pinned. Stel, I'm not surprised, but England got to the final by hook or crook. Hadn't really played anyone of note. We get to the final, and for me, I think we saw from minute 1 what our plan was. What did you make of the way England set their stall out tonight?
Well, it's been like most games. We absorb pressure. We sit back, very defensive. We invite teams on, and we just somehow find a 10, 15-minute patch in the game where we get on top of teams. And there's a moment of brilliance that either equalises to go to penalties or wins the game. And to be honest, it happened again today, but there was 2 goal line clearances. One of those goes in. It's a repeat of every game. But
yeah,
Spain got goals in them. Spain are just like Man City. They command the ball, control possession on the front foot. 3 passes, they can split you open, and their passing is so good. What made me laugh today, though, was at half-time, Rodri went off injured. And the commentator goes, "Oh, this is a big blow. England have got a chance." I'm sitting there thinking, has anyone watched Zubimendi play football this season?
Yeah.
He's so good. I had fans saying to me when on Tottenham Away about a month, he said, "Do you know what? We should a player like Zubimendi to come into our midfield is desperately needed." And fans say, "No, he's not. He's overrated." And then again, we brought it up last week. And someone goes to me, "Oh, come on, we've got Archie Gray now. Can't you see what we're doing?" I said, "Archie Gray, Zubimendi, the guys just carried Spain over the line in a European final."
Absolutely.
Mate,
I think this is it. And again, for me, a lot of that comes down to, again, Premier League football fans not actually watching any other teams and not understanding who these players are. Look, of course, Zubimendi isn't Rodri, but let's be fair. They're kind of like cookie cutters, aren't they? It's sort of like they've all grown up to play that way. They know the system. And I thought Zubimendi had a fantastic second half. I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought Spain came out brilliant second half. Listen, we'll talk about the England goal in a minute, but are you disappointed more so that with the talent England do have on the pitch, and we do have talent, and with the talent we've got on the bench, that there's no recognised style of play. There's no one-touch passing. There's no 5, 10, 15 passes to keep possession. It's all very much reactionary to what the other teams do. Does that disappoint you from Southgate?
Yeah, I've never liked Southgate. I wanted him out 4 years ago. A lot of my friends had a go at me when I said it. But you can see what kind of manager he is. And look, you know, you and I had our differences over Conte and Jose. I never had an issue with Jose or Conte because I knew what they could do. Your argument was, but they haven't got the players to do what they want, which is a fair argument. Southgate is basically almost of the Conte Jose mold, but without the talent that they've got. And when you look at these group of players, Foden, Bellingham, Kane, Saka, Eze, Tony, Ollie Watkins, Kobe Mainoo, you look at these players, you think, give us the Spain manager and we'll win this final, right? Because we've got the players to do this, to play the better style of football. So it is a manager that isn't playing to the potential of the players he's actually got in his hands.
Yeah, I think that's the crazy thing, right? That sometimes, as you said, you know, we've disagreed on managers and styles, etc. But
yeah,
this is a manager that's got the players. There's no excuse. This is the manager that's got some of the best attacking talent in the world, and we don't attack. And every now and then, I thought it was hilarious. I don't know, depending on what channel people watched it on. I watched it on BBC One because I can't do adverts. And what made me laugh is every time we had the ball down the right wing, Alan Shearer would pop in with something like, "Oh, see, the Spanish can be got at," and you're like, "Hang on, Alan, we haven't got at them all night. we haven't done anything here." But look, the substitution, look, the talking point is going to be Harry Kane. Obviously, was one of our own. For me, I don't think he's looked fit the entire tournament. If I'm honest, he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look right. Still grabbed some goals. Do you think it was the right call to bring off Kane on 60 minutes?
Well, the answer is no, because we didn't win, right? But in hindsight, you look at the last game, Kane came off and it was the right call. So you never know until the final whistle blows.
Yeah.
I do think right end, those two headers that got cleared off the line, I think Kane scores one of those. That's his bread and butter. 6 yard, 10 yard away from goal header. You know, that's Harry Kane's bread and butter. But do you know what? I am one of these fans. I'm not being biased because he used to play for Spurs. He doesn't play for Spurs anymore. Good luck to him. You know, I care about Spurs. But I do feel he's not getting the service. I don't feel he got the service in this game. And I think he needs service because when he does drop deeper to pick up the ball and integrate the play, we always moan, why is he there? Why is he there? We need someone up front. The system Southgate plays, you need that player up top. He never got a service. Could he have played better? Yes, he could have. He could have. But there was a lot of stinking performances. I thought Declan Rice had his worst game of the tournament tonight.
I thought he was dreadful tonight. He was absolutely dreadful. And I'll tell you what, this is when you watch a player like Rodri play football and then watch Declan Rice play football, it's chalk and cheese, right? One is just an absolute joy to watch, controls games. Declan Rice, he couldn't stop giving the ball away. But I make you right, Stel. Lots of my mates who aren't Spurs fans always say, "Oh, Kane, no, he dropped so deep." And I always say to them, Kane will only ever drop deep when no one's getting in the ball. I said, he's got all of those playmakers and all those attacking talent on the pitch, and no one is threading him through. No one's crossing to his head. No one's playing it into his feet for him to swivel and shoot. It's just, this leads me on to the obvious question. And smash the likes, people. We've only got 33 likes, which is absolutely shocking. It's 10:30 at night. Smash the likes. Stella and I are giving our time up. I'm going to ask the obvious question. Yeah. There's been talk all week that the FA, this doesn't surprise me, the FA are going to offer Gareth Southgate a new contract. What would you, I mean, is that another backward step, or are you in the camp of, well, at least he's getting to semis and to finals? Where do you sit with it?
8 years ago, I went on a coaching course where they told us this is the new England DNA. This is the way we want you to coach players, develop players, and it's to develop players that are technically gifted, who are decision makers that can win games of football. And they taught us this new program. It was quite exciting. I was on board with it. I thought, this is good. What is the point of all of that? And you've got the England youth teams doing really well as well now. What is the point of all of that? You're then going to bring in a manager that doesn't play to that DNA. It doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. And this is, I'm letting people know, this is something that started 8 years ago. It's no fluke that England are getting to some semi-finals and finals now. It's not a fluke. This was planned 8 years ago. McDermott, our academy director, got poached by England to help develop this, and he's done a great job there. Put in a manager that matches that, man. Like Southgate. He's just a suit, a yes man. He will do as he's told. England need that risk element. They need someone like, I'll give you an example. We play Mainu and Declan Rice. Personally, I would play one holding mid, sit deeper, protect the back three, and put a more creative attacking player in the middle that can beat a man, that can create, that can score, like an Eze, for example. Put that extra body there, and let's be more attacking. Let's be more daring. We're just a little bit, we're too cautious, Sava, until it's too late.
For sure. I mean, look, I go off the theory that I feel like in the last few tournaments, England have had a very nice run. And I always say to my mate, I've got one of my mates, right, is so, he hates it when I talk football to him because I'm not patriotic. So I'm like, I don't care if England lose because they deserve to lose. They don't play football. And he's like, no, you can't say that. You're English. But I say to him, if we're going to play this style of football, it gets you so far. And what you've seen is in any tournament we play under Southgate, the moment we play one of those top 4 or 5 teams in the world, they never struggle to beat us, do they? They don't. Today, Spain, they had a plan. You could see what they wanted to do. They wanted to strangle the game, keep the ball, make us tired, make us move. I don't know what England's plan was. Yes, it was a good goal, but summed up perfectly today. Someone said to me, England have been poor all tournament, but they've had good moments. And again, that happened tonight still. Good goal by Palmer, right? It was a really good goal. But another player who's been on the bench all tournament.
Listen, Cole Palmer, again, another player who I said, I think that he's better than any of our attacking players at Spurs except for Son. He's better than Richarlison. He's better than Brennan Johnson. He's better than Werner. He's better than Kulu. I think he's better than all of them. And I got told, be quiet. What do you know about football? If you look at the stats, Cole Palmer, most of his goals are penalties. Yeah. I said, do you watch him play? Do you actually watch his touch? Do you watch his movement? Can you see what he's trying to do in games? How can you tell me, just because a lot of his goals are penalties, he's not better than Brennan Johnson, Kulu, Richarlison? Where are we getting this from? That goal he scored tonight was class. Yeah, that is a player in a big game, under pressure, comes off the bench to try and save his nation, and he almost did it. When have you seen Kulu do that? Johnson, Werner, Richarlison. When have you seen them do that? So I don't get it. I would love Palmer as Saba. Honestly,
we don't sign players like that.
I think he's brilliant.
Do you know what? I'll tell you what made me laugh still today, right?
I don't get it.
I did a show this morning and I said, listen, I know we're not going to get him right, but I said, Nico Williams is everything in a winger I want. Oh. Every time he gets the ball, right, whether he beats his man or not, you know what? He tries to beat his man. Every time he gets the ball, he does what wingers should do. He tries to take him on the inside or the out, and every now and then he gets past his man and you go, wow, scored another great goal. I had Spurs fans, some in the chat now that were in my chat earlier will tell you I'm not lying. We had Spurs fans in the chat earlier going, nah, Nico Williams isn't very good. We wouldn't want him at Spurs. And you know when I'm sitting there thinking, we've just signed Timo Werner. We've signed Timo Werner.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's absolutely mental. But look, again, look, you know, the substitutions again felt a little bit too late for me. Tony, being given like 4 or 5 minutes at the end of a game. It's kind of like, what do you want him to do in 4 or 5 minutes? Anthony Gordon, not been seen for about 3 or 4 games. Eze, how exciting is Eze? No, don't want to get him on the pitch. We are the complete opposite to brave football, aren't we? We are the complete opposite to let's be brave.
I get it if you want to start Saka and Foden because they're both quality. I get it. And you want to start Bellingham. It makes sense. But rather than take them off, rather than doing like for likes, sometimes you've got 2 in the middle. Take one of the midfielders off and putting another attacking kind of hybrid 8/10, like an Eze. Put someone like that in and just go for it. Whereas if we take Minu off, right, bring on Gallagher. It's like, if you're going to make a sub, and it's not just because they're tired or they're having a crap game, make it because you're going to be more adventurous or you're going to be more daring. We are too precautious. Southgate's too precautious in my, and it cost us today. That's what cost the game.
For sure.
Sava, for the equaliser, Spain won the ropes. They were wobbling, and we've seen teams in this tournament get into Spain, but they haven't been clinical enough. When we went 1-1, he should have thrown the towel at it. Sorry, the towel. He should have thrown the kitchen sink at it and gone for him. And I reckon we would have beaten them. I reckon England might have done it, but we didn't. And we allowed Spain to get back in the game, and Spain do what they do best, and that's win games with brilliant passing moves. And that pass from Cucurella to the forward was superb. It was a quality pass from Cucurella. Even the ball out wide to Cucurella.
It really was.
Split us open. So there you go.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating. And look, a lot of people seem to want to talk about Harry Kane, right? And look, it's difficult because Harry Kane was one of our own. I've got no personal attachment to him now. He's gone. He is one of the best strikers in the world. He scores hundreds of goals. But this man, unfortunately, I'm going to say it. That's his, if I'm not wrong, that's the 5th final that he's played in his career. And it's 5 finals when Spurs, England into 4. 5?
Well, he played in the Carabao Cup final in Poch's first season, but he was a kid. The team was crap.
4.5. He's played in 4.5 finals. Unfortunately, and this is the thing, I'm not suggesting that Harry Kane isn't a world-class finisher. Absolutely. But this has been the thing leveled at him. And if we remove our Spurs hats, this is what the world will level at him, is that in not one of those 4/5 finals has this man ever done something where you go, that's why you're called world-class. And what I mean by that is, yes, it's a team game, but we've seen in finals, Didier Drogba turned up, right? Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, these guys in finals, the ones we call world-class, turn up. Can this be levelled at Kane? Is that harsh? Is he a curse? Why can't this man win a trophy?
No, you're right. If you don't top in the big games, you can't get the accolades. It's simple as that. But I do think he's been a bit unlucky as well. I'm not making excuses, but I mean, Gareth Southgate, 2 finals. Southgate tactically boshed it up against Italy. Today, Southgate too pragmatic. The Champions League final, Kane should never have started. He was never fit, and Kane should have not allowed himself to start. He put himself ahead of the team, in my view. And then the Carabao Cup final, I mean, we sacked Mourinho to put in Ryan Mason. That was the equivalent of a resignation there. So I don't think he's been lucky with the setup of the teams he's been in the final. But having said that, the best, they find something. Like the amount of times Gareth Bale found something in a final, and you think, do you know what? Class. So.
But let's be fair.
I'm half and half of it, Sava.
Listen. I agree. I just think it's difficult, right? Because when all is said and done, as you said, you could look at this. Gareth Bale in those big games took the game by the scruff of the neck and went, "I'm going to do something." And let's be fair, some of the goals he scored in those finals were worldies, right? Like I remember in the Copa del Rey final when he's run the length of the pitch, run off the pitch, skinned his man, slotted it home. This is what separates the greats from the very good, right? And that is what's going to be level now.
The bicycle kick in the Champions League final against Liverpool. I mean, insane.
Just tremendous. Just tremendous. And let's have a look. Sava, you said the other day, world-class players always make an impact. Foden, Bellingham, Saka, etc., are so far from world-class. It's laughable, despite England having an inept manager. Look, go on. You want to take this down? Go for it.
Yeah. Foden won everything at Man City. He had an impact. Bellingham won the league and the Champions League with Real Madrid. He had an impact. Saka, okay, there's an argument to be had. But to put Foden and Bellingham in this conversation is insane. They're both elite players. It's ridiculous. And they've won at the highest level. So putting Foden and Bellingham in there, I don't get. The best players don't turn up every single final, every single time. But they turn up in a fair few. So I don't think you could put Bellingham in this conversation. Saka maybe, but Saka's still a good player.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ronaldo's lost finals. Messi's lost finals. You know, it's going to happen. You don't win everything, exactly. But the thing is, leave you with a bevy. We've seen Foden for Man City in massive games turn up and win titles and cups and stuff. We've seen it. Bellingham, all right, we've seen it this year. For me, I always think, you know what I say still, for me, for players to be called world-class, I want to see them do it year in, year out. I don't want to see 1 year and then we go, oh my God, he's brilliant. And that applies. Look, world-class players, one of them has to make an impact. If we're going to say that. For me, though, I don't see how a lot of these world-class players, if we are going to call them world-class for England, have an opportunity to make an impact when we don't have the football. We play a style of play, which means these players don't have the football. When they go and play for their clubs, when Bellingham plays for Real Madrid, they have most of the ball every game. Yeah, when Saka plays for Arsenal, they have most of the ball. When Foden plays for Man City, they have 80% of the ball. They come and play for England, and was it like 34% possession today? You know, you've got to have more than that still, haven't you? You've got to try. You've got to do something.
Italy won nothing for ages. They put Marcello Lippi in charge. He wins the World Cup. They go for another drought period. They put Mancini, who won the league at Man City. He takes over Italy. They win the Euros. You need managers that can play to the best ability of the players they've got. And Southgate does not get the best out of these players. He doesn't. He's lucky he got to the final. He had an easy run to the final. Didn't have to play any of the heavyweight teams in the knockout stages. And on top of that, it was all last-ditch wonder goals or bicycle kicks or Ollie Watkins. That Dutch game should have gone to extra time. It was just a moment of brilliance from Watkins, a fantastic strike. It's these individual players. Spain is a team. England is a group of individuals. And to become a team, you need a manager. A manager brings the together to be a team. And I don't think Southgate's... Look, Sava, I've never liked Southgate. I've never rated him. I've never thought he was... I don't think he's the right man for England. But he's improved the belief in the squad.
The morale. It's the morale.
Yeah, look, the morale. That's right.
Just quickly, we have got some super chats. Dennis, I believe you're talking about Nico Williams. First off, Dennis, you're not an accountant. Right? As fans, we need to stop thinking we're accountants. If you want to buy the best players out there, you're going to have to pay them big wages, right? Nico Williams, for me, I've watched him this tournament, is a menace to play against for any fullback, right? A menace to play against. Just think, Barcelona are about to buy this guy, and they're going to have Nico Williams on the left and Lamau on the right for years to come, with Gavi, Pedri, and De Jong in the middle, right? So when we're sitting here going, "Oh, I'd buy him, but not for that," big clubs don't think like that, and we've got to stop as fans. Sorry, I know this is going off on a tangent. We've got to stop as fans worrying about what a player's salary is, because the chairman has filtered that into your head. We've got to stop doing that. Yeah, top players get paid top money, unfortunately, and we're paying Timo Werner 165 grand a week. Just let that sink in. Still, just quickly, I'm going to have some super chats. They're all from my mate Donna, everyone's favourite Donna Cullen. in the chat. So Mr. Sava looks like no date and no trophy. No date between me and you. No trophy. I want to say, Mr. Stelios, I also missed your beautiful face. Gone on to say, Mr. Sava, do you like my new fresh picture? Donna, you look like every board member's dream. You look stunning. Lovely. And Mr. Sava, this month is my 1 year anniversary here. Well, thank you very much. I'm happy we could spend that year together. Thank you very much. And then only one Hotspur TV, big up my man, has said, oh my God, I'm so annoyed. And I have to go to work in Ireland tomorrow. I'm going to get ripped into. Love your content, Sava. Hope you're well. Well, listen, first of all, thank you for loving the content. Yes, I'm well. The trick is don't get too involved in it. Like with Spurs, I'll get involved in it. But with England, I never join the hype because I'm so used to it. But listen, big up to you. Hope you listen. They're Irish. They can't. No offense, the Irish football fans can't really say a lot, can they, with the state of their national team? But big up to every single one of you who put that. Listen, they've got Troy Parrott up front for crying out loud. Look, let's talk Spain for a minute. I think when you look still at the ages of Lamau, Williams, Zubamendi, Marino, Dani Olmo's not old either. You look at two players that didn't really play a lot this tournament, Pedri and Gavi, who are both out injured. Cucurella is 23, maybe 24. They've got a lovely little group of players there to go forward into the next tournaments, haven't they? They look a real good outfit.
They've done it again. We go back to the Spanish team that had Fabregas, Iniesta, Xavi, Puyol. David Silva. We said what an amazing team they are. Well, this team is growing, and this trophy will give them the belief to go into the World Cup and try and win the World Cup again. They're building again. The thing is, if you ever go to Spain and you see how they coach, every club you go to is practically the same.
Yeah.
Will dominate the ball, dominate your 1v1s, move the ball quick, try and cut teams open with good passes, down the flanks, beat the man. It's all very similar. It's the whole country plays a very similar football. And then that's why you see the first team playing the way they are now. This is the same style of on the World Cup about, when was it, 15, 20 years ago? It was in Africa they won it, the South African World Cup.
Oh, God. Yes, I believe it was. Yeah.
I think it was. They beat Holland in the final, I remember. And it's a culture. It's a way of playing. In England, we're a bit different. Tony plays for Brentford, completely different to how Arsenal plays, where Saka is. And Declan Rice. You've got Man City, the Foden, who plays the best football under the best manager. Then you get an Eze who plays for Crystal Palace, completely different to all those teams. The culture in England is different. So whatever England manager comes in, it's hard because how do you bring them all together? But that means your job is, right, what are they good at? How do I bring them together by playing football that suits them? And this is where I think a Harry Redknapp would be brilliant for England. Someone like Redknapp would be so good for England. But he'd let them go out and play. He'd let them go out and play, wouldn't he?
He'd actually have wingers that want to beat their man. He like today when we came out the traps, I think for the first 7 minutes of the game, I don't remember us really touching it other than to clear it. Like there was no one was able to put their foot on the ball. We talk about Foden and Bellingham and Rice and Mainu and how good all these players are. No one was able to put their foot on the ball, take the sting out of the game. And you're right, that's how the Spanish all play. And I hear all the time that, you only get 3 or 4 weeks with the national squad, so you can't get them playing a philosophy. Well, hang on. How long did La Fuente have with the Spanish squad? And they've all come in and every single one of them knows exactly the way Spain want to play football. Yeah, they're going to play that one player like Rodri who sits and dictates. The other two midfielders are so adept at getting back and forward, but receiving the ball. Drive. The wingers want to play as wingers now for Spain. That's how they've adapted over the years. And Morata just works he's not the greatest striker in the world, but Morata and Oyarzabal, they work their nuts off. And then you look at England. I don't know what we are, mate. I don't know who's playing where. I don't know the shape. I don't know.
Just imagine we went into a final with strikers, Kane, Tony, and Watkins. Okay, all really good strikers, and we lost to a team whose striker was Morata, who isn't a very good striker, or Azamov, who came on, who's not bad.
Yeah, they're decent. They're decent forwards.
We had the better firepower. Hands down, we had the better firepower. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell me how many chances we created, or how many times our strikers were put in a position to pull the trigger, or other than Bellingham drag back and shimming player and then drilling one wide. And I think Declan Rice header. I don't remember too many chances for England. Even Paul Pogba was from distance. It wasn't something we created in the box and broke through them. Whereas you look at both of Spain's goals, got into our box and broke through.
No, mate, absolutely. And just quickly, I just want to say, a lot of people saying, like, Kane didn't have good teams around him. Listen, the problem is, if you've made it to 5 finals, you can't be terrible, whether it's Spurs or you can't be dreadful. You've made it to the final. So how comes we were good enough to get to the finals, but all of a sudden you get to the final and Kane doesn't have the players around him? Look at the players Kane when he played in finals for Spurs, right? Kane had Eriksen, Dembele, Dele Alli, Son, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Walker, Rowe. This wasn't a really bad Spurs team. This was a very, very good Spurs team that everyone said we played great football. So look, my point I'm trying to make here, Uche, is the truly greats of world football, even if their team aren't playing well, will do something. Drogba did it. Chelsea were poor in many finals, but Drogba it turned into the best. You know what I mean? Messi, Ronaldo, we've seen games where their teams have done nothing. They get the ball and go, all right, I'll do something now. He's got to have that moment in his career. And to date, unfortunately, as much as we love him and stick up for him, this will go down as another final where, whether it was Southgate, whether it's him, it's just, it doesn't, I don't know. I just don't know.
Do you think it's fair to say, right? He's got the England record. He's got the Tottenham record. He's got records left, right, and centre. Golden Boots, Bundesliga, Premier League. When it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, he's going to go down as one of the best ever. He's got records everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
So is it fair to say he's a world-class striker, but not a world-class player?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a world-class finisher for sure. And I think there's a lot of, you could probably say that about Erling Haaland, right? Erling Haaland's not a world-class footballer, but still Erling Haaland's only 23, right? You've got to remember that at 23, what was Harry Kane do? Do you know what I mean? So, but there's a difference, isn't there, between being the main man and a great player. And unfortunately, those fine measures in sport, and this is what I mean, Rodri. When do you see Rodri have a bad game? You hardly ever. This guy gets into a big game. I'll run it. Give me the ball. I'll do everything. Just absolute class. I'm just going to wax lyrical about him for 1 minute still. I think this lad, how he never gets talked about for Ballon d'Ors is absolutely beyond me. He is the heartbeat of one of the best teams in world football. He has just been the heartbeat of the team that won the Euros. Yet every time there's a Ballon d'Or, I'm hearing Bellingham over Rodri for a Ballon d'Or. Really? In what planet are you picking? I'm just having a rant. That's all I'm doing. Look, let's move on. I want to talk about Anthony Gordon, Eze, Jared Bowen and Palmer. 4 extremely talented attackers there still. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm guessing if we add up the minutes they've had between them in this tournament, it's not going to be a lot. And that concerns me deeply with this manager. That concerns me that none of these guys have truly been given a go. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, who do you drop to play them? Secondly, I think their time is going to come because Kane, Watkins, Tony are all in their 30s, if I'm right, or approaching 30. So that front line, I think, over the next 4 years is going to be replenished anyway because of age. But yeah,
Sure.
the thing is, if you keep winning games, you get to a final. How do you play them? It's a difficult
Okay,
one.
but I'll ask the question then. So when I've watched out, like, I watched Germany. Now, let's be fair. Germany were a very good team. Went out because they played Spain, and England would have gone out much earlier if we had played a Germany or a Spain. But you watch the Germans. They were able to go, all right, Wirtz, today you miss out Wirtz, Sane, you play. Like they were able to 1-for-1. England, it just seems like he couldn't go away. It was like Saka, Foden, Bellingham, Kane. It's like none of these players, it's like they've got clauses in their contract that they have to start a game. And that truly worries me and tells me why Southgate isn't at the level of these other managers.
But do you think he was playing the players because they've got goals in them? Because Bellingham did score that bicycle kick that saved us. Saka scored that curve in the edge of the box that saved us. Kane scored the winner against Slovakia. So do you think he's just going with players who are getting goals? Whereas, I watched Eze play for England a couple of times when he came on. You can't really judge him. He only got like 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think he did enough to command a starting position. But I do think there's games he should have come on and we should have gone to just one in the middle instead of two.
Yeah.
So tactically, he should have got more minutes. Foden's such a difficult one because he was so good for West Ham. But then so was Saka.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what do you
Listen,
do?
I'm not saying you have to drop these players.
Sorry,
but I just think sometimes you can rotate, like especially when you look at the quality of teams we were playing up until the final. You know, like a game against the Slovenia. You know, no one's going to tell me that you couldn't say, all right, Saka, you've played 3 games in 10 days. Bowen, go and play a bit on the right wing. You know, it just feels to me that the other big countries managed to do that, and they managed to give their, like, look how much game. If you watch the Spanish over the last however many games, Olmo's had loads of game time. So has Rodri. So has Mikel Merino. So has Zubimendi. So has Fabian Ruiz. Oyarzabal's had loads. They managed to get them all on the pitch.
That Olmo surprised me, because we were looking at him a couple of years ago and we didn't get him. I think was it Leipzig he went to? He went to Leipzig.
Tottenham not getting a player. Shock.
Yeah, shock. He went to, I think he went to Leipzig and he did all right. I knew he was good, but I never thought, you know what, you're that good. This tournament, I thought Olmo really impressed me. I thought he had a really, really good tournament.
Yeah.
Really good, actually.
Yeah, do you know what?
Impressed me a lot more.
He's so technically gifted.
He might be for Spurs.
He's so technically gifted, but the problem, one of the problems with it, the only problem I can see with him is he roughly plays somewhere like 22 to 23 games a season because of injuries. Now, he's got a release clause for 60 million euros.
He'll runs,
well, yeah. Right. He's got a release clause that runs out on the 20th of July, mate. So his release clause runs out in 6 days' time. Now, a lot of the rumours are saying that Man City, let's be fair, you watch him and you go, that's a pet player. He'll take Bernardo Silva's place when he moves on. But again, I love a player like that, Spurs.
Speaks the language.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, sorry if I can't get to comments, but please do smash the likes. There's 365 of you in here and only 119 likes. We should at least be on 250. Please make that happen. It's free. You just smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. We're trying to get back up to where we were before I left. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And please go and subscribe to the guys over at Tottenham Away as well. Sorry, Stel.
The one thing I thought was criminal by England the whole tournament is not giving Trent Alexander-Arnold more time. I mean, for me, him as an attacking wingback, what are we doing? Trippier got way too much game time this tournament.
Oh, you still there? Yeah, you're still there. Do you know what made me laugh? Right, was look, I think Trippier's I think Trent Alexander-Arnold's an enigma because I think he's a really good footballer. defensively not the best, but he's got a wonderful pass. He gets forward and can create from that right-hand side. Now, I understood him not playing centre mid, but when England did make the change to 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call it, I sat there and I thought, yeah, that's perfect for Trent. I'm thinking that's got to be Trent, right? That's got to be Trent. Yep. Saka on the left. And then when you're seeing Saka there, and then you've got Trippier on the left, and I'm thinking, what are we doing here? Because he started off playing Trent every game, and then all of a sudden Trent can't get a minute. I just feel like we were massively unprepared for this tournament still. I don't feel like he knows his 11. I don't think he knows his system. And I think that we shithoused ourselves to the final, if we're going to be brutally honest.
Yeah, we like I said, it was individual brilliance that got us there. Do you know, I completely forgot that Southgate played Trent in the middle. That was he should have been sacked just for that. I completely forgot. Do you know, I thought today in the midfield as well, Manu and Rice, they never got a foot in the game. I think this was maybe one step too much for Manu, who does look like a brilliant player and looks like he's going to be a top player for Man United. We know Rice is a good player. He just didn't have a good game. And I think that in this final, it was clear to me, round about with 30 minutes to go, I would have changed that midfield. Both of them, or at least one of them, I would have changed it and gone more creative, more attacking, because I just felt those two weren't having a good game. I think they're both good players, just didn't have a good game today. And he didn't change it. And you know, in fact, maybe he didn't, because if he did, he would have put Trent in the middle. And then we all would have been, we've just been cursing. But that's Southgate for you.
Do you know the funny thing as well, right, is when I said I think we went in unprepared, right? Unprepared? That's not a word. Unprepared. I think the problem you've got is at the same time you've got Foden that wants to play in the 10. You've got Bellingham, who is more of a late arriving into the box, scoring goals number 10 than he is a creative number 10. And then you've got Rice, who for Arsenal, when he's been played best for Arsenal, isn't playing as the number 6. He's playing as the number 8. So he's driving further forward. So in a way, this whole tournament, you've had Rice playing out of position, Foden playing out of position, and Bellingham not being allowed to do what he does best. And it just goes to show to me that this is one of those ones where the sum of the parts need to be greater, if you know what I mean. And that's where I think a big manager needs to have the balls. We had this problem with Sven-Göran Eriksson. A big manager needs to have the balls to turn around and go, one of them can't play. For the balance of the team, for getting it right, someone can't play. But like we did with Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard back then, when we shoehorned Scholes into left wing rather than putting him in the middle because he wouldn't drop Gerrard or Lampard, we've done that again this tournament. And unfortunately for me, Foden, Bellingham and Rice, none of them, I'll be honest, I thought Bellingham had a really poor, I know he got the overhead kick, but I thought he had a really poor tournament, not just him. And that for me is when you're not prepared. You look at the Spanish, they look prepared. You knew who played where. You knew what their roles were, right?
Southgate's been in charge of this England team so long, he should know what his best players are starting in which positions are by now. If we're still experimenting, you've got to question what he's doing. You know, I don't think Foden had a good tournament either, Sava. No, I know he had good moments. I don't think Foden had the best of tournaments. Kane, was that the best we've seen?
So at what point do you put it on the manager, though? All of these players can't be bad at once, right? All of these players will go back to their clubs now and be brilliant, right? It's got to be the manager's tactics, because Phil Foden ripped it up this year in a team that have the ball, attack, one-touch passing, players to play off. He comes into the England team, gets the ball out on the left, and you're like, what do I do? What do I do with it? There's no one supporting. There's no one... You know, like when he gets the ball for Man City, he looks up and he goes, right, I could play off De Bruyne, Silva, Grealish, Haaland. He looks up for England and everyone runs away. It's like, what do you do if you're a player in that situation?
Everything stems from a combination of the quality of players and the tactics or the philosophy of the manager. we've got the quality. So it is the manager. The way we play is how Southgate wants them to play.
Yeah.
People moaning before this tournament, this football's rubbish. I can't watch England play. In the group stages, I'm in a WhatsApp group with all my friends from university, all England fans, and they were saying this is unbearable. It's unbearable to watch England. So when we got to the final, we forgot the previous kind of forget the semi-final and the final. All games before those two games, England were awful in this tournament. Because we got to the final, but when who cares? Which is correct, because winning should be the ultimate. But when you're up against a team that has been entertaining, that does play fantastic football, guess what? 9 times out of 10, they beat you. And today we got beaten because it was those 9 out of 10 moments.
And can't agree more.
I've never seen an England team consistently play well under Southgate. I've never enjoyed the football of Southgate. It's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish.
Do you know what I say at every tournament still, right? And again, I get it. Like you know how me and you are constantly called negative for Spurs, right? I'm called that with my mates for England. And I always say to them, always, wait until we play a top team. When we play a top team with tactics and top players and a strategy, yeah, watch. And I thought today, let's be honest, other than the goal, right? Other than that goal by Palmer, let's be fair, Spain, they had what, 65, 66% possession, 15, 16 shots in the game, all the corners, all the free kicks.
To make it save after save.
Right.
They had drilled wide where almost should have scored. In previous games, almost scores that. He's drilled one wide. There's a comment from Lee at 11:02, right? Lee, I totally agree with you. It's what I said at the start of the show when I came on. There was a moment in the game when we scored where England were on top and Spain were wobbling. At that moment, I would have taken off a midfielder and put another attack-minded midfielder like an Eze and gone for the jugular. Instead, and Lee's right, we dropped off. And that is the manager. That is the manager. He didn't make the
I'm going to show you, right?
When momentum shifts, you've got to grab hold of it. What's that saying? Strike when the iron is hot. The iron is hot, and we pour ice cubes on it.
Mate,
we pour ice on the iron, and that's Southgate. That's Southgate.
I literally, I'm trying to find it. I literally put into one of my WhatsApp groups. This is the moment England scored. I said, "Do not retreat." Right. We've got the momentum. Go for it. What did we do? The moment we scored that goal, we retreated and Spain got the momentum back. And it's like, and from that moment, I just thought Spain, they keep the ball so well. But what was worrying, it's how easily they kept getting in. They kept getting in. And to be fair, listen, I'm not Pickford's biggest fan, but Pickford was my man of the match from an England perspective today. He kept us in the game.
Pickford.
Yeah, he did. He did. But still, I'm going to ask a question. There's 345 people in here, not enough likes. But do you think, I reckon the majority of them are Spurs. Should we chat about Spurs for a bit?
Yeah, of course we can.
Let's chat about, hands up in the chat if you'd like to speak about Spurs. And anyone that's Greek, welcome. We're all Greek here tonight. We're all Greek. Just look at my nose and you'll see how Greek I am. There you go. Look, Stel, I've been told over and over and over and over again, wait till the Euros are finished. The Euros are finished. When are Spurs signing, and who are we signing from the England or Spain team, which is the reason why we've not been active in the market until now? Talk to me about Spurs and the transfer market. And everyone in the chat can now unleash their Spurs anger or love or whatever you want.
Before I say anything, I've been right for 10 years in a row. We win nothing. We bottle whatever we do get involved in come May. Until we start winning trophies, I will not be silenced. You cannot silence fans like me when we always lose. We always fail come end of May. Whether you like hearing it or not, it's factual. It's exactly what has happened the last 25 years, except for 1 year. So there's a reason it keeps happening. And it's as simple as this. Until we start signing established, proven quality to complement the existing good players we've got and to educate the young players who we think might be good. They've got to learn off somebody So they've got to learn off good, not Timo Werners and Brendan Johnsons. And if you want to convince your best players to stay instead of them leaving every year, like Kane and Eriksen and Carrick and Berbatov and Modric, bring in that talent to show them ambition so that they can stay. I've given you 4 reasons why we must sign proven quality. Every year, we choose not to do it. And every year, what happens? We fail. We're divided. We argue. Everyone's got an excuse. The people that said it was going to happen are always proven right. And every couple of years, we lose a top player because of it. If we're going to succeed, I've got no issue with young players. I've got no issue with a couple of punts like a Vicario, Van der Ven and a Dogi, because when they land, they land. But if you don't start signing some top talent that is proven, a Kvaratskhelia, an Eze, and you keep doing that every year, you've got to sign 2 or 3 of these players every season, Spurs will never, ever, 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 ever achieve anything. And anything else, in my opinion, it's just my view, is deluded and denial over this. So when we sign Archie Gray, sorry when I don't get excited. When we sign Timo Werner as a backup, sorry if I lose my mind. That is not to do it.
Listen,
Archie Gray, Kvaratskhelia, Tony and Eze, I've got no issue. But if we don't, I've got a problem with it, Saba. I've got a big problem with it. It's not going to work.
Mate, listen, there are things that we don't agree on. I think for years we've been 100% agreement in this. And again, I won't even say forgive me if I don't get excited by Gray. Gray could be brilliant in 3 years, right? Gray could be brilliant. But now, what are we doing now? We didn't build that £1 billion stadium, right, to keep buying kids. Now, I'm going to bring up a comment that I find really interesting. We talked a little bit about this earlier. Let's see if I can find it. And somebody said, I bet I can't find it now. Right, yeah, here we go. Oh, I've got it on the screen. What an idiot. I'm looking for it and I've got it on the screen. Alejandro Perez has said, apparently one attacker coming in according to Romano. And still, the point I made all window, and I think I heard you talk about this similarly in one of your shows when we first signed Werner. It's all well and good people talking about, oh, Werner's only a loan. He's better than Hill. You know, all this kind of stuff. My problem with it was always, sure, but he takes up a place in the squad. And right now, we've got Richarlison, who's going nowhere. Brennan Johnson's just signed. Kulu's just signed. Son's not going anywhere. Werner has just re-signed, right? So there's 5 that definitely aren't going anywhere. Then you've got some over here like Solomon, Hill, Valise, who will probably leave or go on loan. So you've got those 5. Have I missed anyone? Richarlison, Son, Johnson, Kulu, and Werner, right?
Solomon?
No, Solomon was in my other list that he's going. So there's 5 forwards, right, that are definitely at the club next year. In a squad of 25, you normally have about 6 forwards. So now, because Werner's signed, there isn't room. What do you think about it? You've got 3 goalkeepers.
You've got Veliz as well.
Yeah, but I said Veliz I thought would probably go out on loan. But of the 5 that will definitely be there next year, that leaves you one more spot for another forward, whether that be a striker or a winger. So all those people going, calm down, Sava, calm down, Stel, Werner's only a loan. Well, hang on, we need a winger and a striker, and we're not going to get one of them now because we bought Werner. It's madness.
I don't rate any of our attackers except for Son. And Son is on his beginning of his decline. And the reason I don't rate them is because of this, because I just feel too many channels have become mouthpieces for the club, and they're just not putting some context into the data. Against the top 10 teams in the Premier League, the teams that you play in semi-finals and finals of cups, the teams you play in the latter stages of Europe, if you want to win trophies, the top 10, not the bottom 10. Brennan Johnson, Timo Werner, Kulusevski, and Richarlison go missing in 80% of the games. No goals, no assists. It's an absolute failure. Against the bottom 10, Burnley, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, they actually do quite well. So what happens is fans will say, yeah, but you've got to play what's in front of you. Yeah, you're right. If you want to win trophies, you're not playing Burnley in a final. You're not playing Nottingham Forest in the semi-final. You're not playing Crystal Palace in the latter stages of Europe. You're playing the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Newcastles, of each country as well. So you need players that can turn up in the big game. And the only two players at Spurs last year who consistently turned up in those games with goals and assists were Heung-min Son and Pedro Porro. So please tell me anyone how you can justify Brennan Johnson. Yeah, good. Timo Werner, good bit of business. Richarlison, just you wait, he's going to prove you wrong. Kulusevski, we're cooking. It makes no sense. There's no logic to it. And when we have these debates, rather than people trying to counter what I've said, it's the usual. Negative. No, I want what's best for Spurs. If we sign Eze, very, very happy because he can dribble. He can beat players. He can do what the rest can't do. If we sign Kvaratskhelia, I'll be ecstatic because I think he's a very, very good football player.
Oh, they've said he's not going anywhere. They came out this week and said he's not going anywhere.
Okay, that level, that ilk. If we sign a striker who can bag us 20 goals a season, I'll be extremely happy. But what we're doing is we're signing players and we're all getting super excited, but it doesn't make sense. If we're going to go down Project Youth, fine. 3-4 years' time, we're going to be the best in the world. No problem. But that's not what the manager said. The manager said he wants to challenge for the league next season. Some fans say to me, yeah, but why can't we do both? Okay, fine, do both. But to do the challenging for the league next season, with what players? What players are we challenging for the league? So, I don't know, Sava. The league starts in like 30 days, and we've got pre-season starting this week, our first friendly game. And if we don't start bringing in some top quality players, at least 2 or 3 for a striker position, the number 6 role, and a left or right-sided attacking forward, with Europe next year plus the Premier League, I don't understand how we progress. I just don't see a pathway forward. I don't get it.
This is the big thing for me. Listen, I thought we struggled by playing 1 game a week last year, right? And now we're going to have 2 games a week. And, you know, I think you're 100% right. We have got players that will rack up some stats and assists and goals against the weaker teams. So, for example, yesterday or the day before, whenever I was saying to someone, I really want Nico Williams, and they were going, oh, his stats are pretty much the same as Brennan Johnson. And you know that's the moment when you know you're defeated as a fan. You know, when you think there's no hope, when I've got people telling me that they'd rather Brennan Johnson than a man who just won man of the match in a European final, right? You know, he's just one man of the match, and you've got people going, "Nah, Brennan Johnson will come good this year. He's still young."
Right? Sullivan's going to do it.
I just don't get it as well, and I keep watching. Listen, I'm not one to mention names, right? But I keep watching all of these different channels and all of these different Spurs broadcast, not YouTube channels either. But I keep watching all these kind of people who are meant to be well in with the club. And they're coming onto these YouTube channels and they're talking about the plans and how exciting it is and what we're doing. I look at this and go, this is the exact same method we've been doing for 24 years. We signed some young players. Fans get overexcited that they're all going to become world-class at the exact same time and we're going to win things. Half of those young players never work out. The other half turn out all right with one who turns out to be brilliant and gets sold. And then we do it again. And I did a video earlier still where I said, let Troy Parrott be the humbler for us, right? For years, don't need a striker. We got Troy Parrott. Give Troy Parrott a chance. Troy Parrott's generational. Give him the guy. We just sold the guy for £6.5 million, right? When Man City and Chelsea are selling their 18-year-old kids for 20, 30 million. Like, how much more evidence do we need to prove that this will not bring success? You've got to add quality.
I spoke to Simon Davies, the academy director at Spurs. Twice I've spoken to him now through my line of work. And he said to me, both he and Ange don't believe the under-21 squad is good enough for Tottenham Hotspur's first team. Some of the coaches there disagree because unless you give them a chance, a proper chance, regular minutes, you never know. But that's their thinking. The only one they've said to me that will play for Spurs next season is Bergvall, who they signed, as in regular minutes. The under-18s, in a few years' time, there'll be a few more players that they think differently of. Mikey Moore's one. Mikey Moore's not yet for the level we want to be at. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, he will be. There's no doubt. But the real top players that are coming through will be the under 12s to under 14s, because that would have been Simon Davies has been there for 2 years. So that crop of players would have had 2 years of Simon Davies. By the time they're 16, 17, 18, that's a good 6-7 years worth of this coaching, the new way they're doing it now. Will be the crop we're going to pick from. So when you hear all these people in the know, ITKs, we know they're waffling. They're absolutely talking out their backside. They aren't going to break through. The players that we're signing in, like the Bergvalls, they should be playing next season. Maybe Archie Gray, maybe Ashley Phillips. They're maybes in next season. But other than that, fans are just going to have to wait 2-3 years for the youngsters to start breaking through, because they're not ready yet in the eyes of the manager and the academy director. They don't think they're at the level yet. We don't have a Foden. We don't have Saka. Jim Moore is probably the best one we've got at the moment of the lot. But he's 16, 17, still a couple of years out. And that's the reality of it. That's the truth. So I agree. Just let it play out, and in 2-3 years' time, then have the conversation. To hype it up now, it's exactly what you said. We heard it with Stain Scarlett. We heard it with Troy Parrott. We just need to chill and let it play out. And then
Dane Scarlett. It's like with the signing of Archie Gray. People don't listen. I'm not saying Archie Gray's a bad player, but again, Archie Gray isn't a player that comes in and takes us from there to there. And the things I'm hearing about Archie Gray, and I'm not saying he's going to end up that way, but forgive me this time, right? I heard this about Spence. I heard this about Jack Clark. I heard this about Ryan Sessegnon. I heard this about Nji, Nkudu, Roden. We heard this about Tanganga. We've heard this about Valise. Every time Spurs sign a kid, we seem to have all these kids in our own fan base that get super excited and start talking about waffling about ceilings and generational and all this. How many of them, in reality, in youth football, how many of these players actually go to a top club and are brilliant? It's not many. Not many that actually make it, right?
Listen, I went to the Under-21s Cup final a couple of months ago. We went to Craven Cottage. We played Fulham. We got battered. Absolutely torn to pieces, right, in the final. Not one player on that pitch, including Tyrese Hall, who's probably the best one on the day, did I look at and say, I'd love you in the first team. But one player. Don't get me wrong, they've had better days. But this isn't even the Premier Division, it's the division below. So when people hype up players like Santiago, Lancashire, Tyrese Hall, they're not even at the top level of youth football yet. The under-18s is a different conversation. That's the one we should be a bit more excited about. So, yes, have a look. With youth, you have to give it time. Listen, it'd be lovely to have these 16, 18, 19-year-olds that Spain have got. If we had them at Spurs now, I guarantee you they would be in the first team, right? They would be in the first team, but we don't have that quality. They're not quite there yet. There's one or two who I think should be given a chance, though. I'll be honest. There's one or two who I do think should be given a chance, but I'm not the manager of Spurs. You know?
Yeah. No, look, I just think the worrying thing for me is it's the number of people coming into my chat lately. And if they believe this, I'm not knocking them. They can believe this still. But I think without putting either of us down, we're both old now, old enough to know what's what. And I keep hearing the words process. I keep hearing the words project. I keep hearing this is the route we're going down now. It's different now. Things are changing. Patience. And you know when you sit there and you think, I've run out of future. I've run out of patience and future and roots and projects. And as Nathan in the chat said just now, how many projects are we going to undergo? How many times are Spurs going to do the same thing with their projects until they realise that none of them work? Because if you want to win things, you need quality footballers. Like it's not difficult, right? You need quality.
The thing is, there's a blueprint out there. If you copy it, you'll be successful. Okay, so you've got Chelsea, not the current Chelsea, but the Chelsea of old, and the Man City, who go and buy just top players, right?
Yeah.
Then you've got the Liverpool Arsenal type model, which is we're going to be very clever in the transfer window, but at some point we're going to go big. We're going to sign Van Dijk. We're going to sign Alisson. We're going to sign Declan Rice. We're going to do something outstanding. And that won Liverpool a lot. Arsenal, they're knocking on the door. They're so close. Spurs don't do that bit, right? So I've just given you that there's the Man City model, the Chelsea model, which we're not going to do. Then you've got the Liverpool and Arsenal model, which we can do, but we are reluctant to go and spend big on those proven talents. And then the excuse is, oh, but look what happened when we signed Ndombele and Sanchez and Richarlison. What a waste of money. Yeah, because we spent big money badly. None of them were proven talent. What had Richarlison proven on the world stage to justify being 65 years old? Davinson Sanchez, never heard of him. Ndombele has one good game against Man City in the Champions League. World beater. Oh, he's sensitive.
Yeah.
Proved West Ham year after year after year, and then ended up winning a trophy for them. Van Dijk was wanted by a lot of clubs. So we need to follow the Arsenal-Liverpool model, right? Arsenal basically copying what Liverpool did. That's the road Spurs should go down, if I'm being realistic, and because we're not going to be like Man City, but we don't do it, Salah. We don't go and spend big on those top players that we must sign.
But this is what makes you laugh. Still,
make the difference.
In the last 2 summers, right, we've spent £110 million, right, on Brennan Johnson and Richarlison. 110 million. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Between Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, I'm going to hazard a guess that between them, their wages are probably 170 grand a week. But between them, right, when added together, right? £110 million in transfer fee. Are you telling me that for 60 or 70, we couldn't have gone and got an Eze in that time, who's better than both of them combined? Yeah. This is what I mean. Like you said, we seem to spend money. I've never had a problem with Daniel Levy for spending money. I know I don't like him, but he spends money. But it's always
he spent a lot of money, a lot.
Quantity over quality. It's always every window, 7 or 8 signings. Every window is 7 or 8 signings, and then every window you get, oh, let this team gel together. Like, you know, look how many players we bought last year that are probably not going to be here very soon. Valise, Solomon. Yeah, I can't see Ashley Phillips being there. You know, I just don't know what we do.
There's no excuses. In the last year, we've got rid of Harry Kane, Ndombele, Lloris, and Perisic. They were 4 of the top earners at Spurs. So the wage bill has come down in high earners. So we've freed up money to pay high salaries to players who command it, players who are of the level who deserve to be paid top dollar. We can do it. We've got the stadium that is an unbelievable cash machine. We can invest in top players. But we went and spent 40 million on Archie Gray. You're thinking, oh my God, 40 million, another 10, 20. What can we buy that's oven ready to come in and just set the stage alight? And this
isn't
is the problem at Spurs. And if we say it, Saba, with the devil's work, we're just trying to have an honest conversation about Tottenham.
But isn't that it?
An honest chat.
If you add a little bit of the transfer fee to the average players you buy, you get a much better quality player. But I said it at the end of the season, right? All of these people talking about we need 7 or 8 players this window. I thought we needed 4 very good players. 4 very good players that come into the squad, can automatically start. They can be rotated, but can automatically start and are better than what we've got. So far, what we've seen is we bought 2 kids who are completely unknown, right? I don't care how much people are telling me about ceilings of players from the Swedish League and the Championship. Completely unknown. And Timo Werner, who unfortunately is very known. So far, 3 bits of business in this window. Not one of it moves the needle. Not one of it shows any sign of progression.
We signed a young striker as well. Was it Finney?
Finney.
We signed him as well. That's another one. That wasn't expensive. It's another player we've got in the books.
I mean, when you look at how many young forwards are at this football club right now, like it's absolutely like they just signed Lancashire up for another 5-year deal, and I don't know. Look, it just frustrates me. Like you're right. There's so many times a day I'm called negative, right, and I love it because when I'm called negative, my response now to these people is, you're the negative ones because you don't want Spurs to get better. You're the negative ones. You like this playing second
We
fiddle.
can't. It's impossible for us to be negative when at the end of May we're proven right every single season. It's negative to consistently be wrong about what Spurs are going to do come into the season. All these people that disagree with us, come May, they're wrong every single year. They are wrong. That is negative. We are positive because we consistently predict what's going to happen. Look, I'll be honest with you, Sava. If we go sign 3 proven players, established proven players, I'll be excited for next season because I think we'll put, and I think it sets a precedent to then the following summer to do the same. If we don't, if what we do is we sign 6, 7 players and Eze, and that's it, because we've got Eze, all is fixed. It's delusional.
Bang on.
It's delusional. It's
Bang
delusional.
On. Bang on. We'll sign Eze. If let's just say hypothetically we get another 3 average players in Eze, people will go, he's backed him. he's backed him. It's madness. Just quickly, I just wanted to look at this comment. And Jason Nars, thanks for putting this in. Let me rip it apart. I love ripping apart silly comments. England just lost a final when you guys look oddly happy. Look, first and foremost, we're YouTubers, right? We have a duty to entertain, host, and try and add some energy to our show, right? Second of all, me not caring that England lost a final because I thought it was going to happen anyway has got nothing really to do with England being invaded. A very weird comment, but big up to you. Thanks for being here. Couple of super chats. Donna Cullen's back and said, "What gift will you give me for 1 year?" I just don't know what to say. Not a lot. By the way, we're only going to go for another 6 or 7 minutes because I do have work first thing in the morning. But only one Hotspur TV has come in and said we're the first to lose 2 consecutive finals. Well, that's don't say that too loudly because then it'll be your fault the next time England get invaded. Apparently, but big.
So is Southgate. Both. That's under Southgate.
Yeah, both under Southgate. Big up to you, my man. I really appreciate that. Rooksy Pop all the way from New Zealand. Big up, my man. I said, big up, Sav. Spurs being linked to Eze for ages. Listen, at this stage, I think that there's more chance of Spurs signing Saido Berahino and who was the Brazilian striker? Who was the Brazilian striker we were after? Leandro Damao. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We love it. Big up, Rooksy Pop. Yeah. Listen. For me, Eze should be a signing that isn't even wow. Eze should be we're the 7th richest club in the world. We are going to go and standard. Yes, we are going to take a player from Crystal Palace, right? That should be the standard. Not big up to you, my man. Really appreciated. Last super chat here from a user. I love that name. Said current team we have won't even cope with the Premier League, let alone Europa and other cup games. I am really worried as I see no sign of elite signings. The thing is for me, a user, I never use the word elite signings because I don't think that elite players will come. What I do want to see is very good signings. Yeah. So I make this clear because the first comments I'll get in response to this show after Stel will be people going, "Oh, Sava thinks we can sign Phil Foden and Haaland." No, Sava thinks we can sign Eze's. Right? Yeah. We should be able to sign Eze's.
Realistic. We're not. By the way, this comment at 11:27 from Flying Solo hits the nail on the head.
I'm finding it. This one?
Yeah, spot on this. Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, you look at it, right? Gareth Southgate had 2 of Man City's Premier League winning back 4. Right? 2 of the Premier League winning back 4. He's got Declan Rice, who's been arguably Arsenal's best player this season. Bellingham, who was the Liga Player of the Year or top goal scorer, whatever he was, winning Champions Leagues and stuff. Phil Foden was the Premier League Player of the Year. Harry Kane was the top goal scorer in Europe and got like 40-odd goals. And you've got all those other young, talented players behind him, and he couldn't get us playing attacking football. Unfortunately, that is Gareth Southgate for you. Still, I'm going to leave it there because I'm sure we're going to have a lot I'm sure we're going to have a lot of content over the next week, and we've got 24. Well, you haven't, but I've got 24 hours to do next week, where I'm sure this will come out. Look, John George is correct. Greece have won more European championships than England. Let that sink in. Yeah, very, very embarrassing. Sava, can you please tell us what you would consider progress next season? Thank you. Yeah, certainly. I want to see us go deep into cups for a start. That would be nice. Not getting knocked out in the third round to Fulham or the second round to Fulham. And progress by definition is finishing higher in the league. Right? We finished 5th this year. Go and buy the players that kick you on. So, look, progress for me, I just want to see that the team's heading in the right direction, that we're signing some very good players that are better than what we've got. I'm not asking for miracles. I'm not even saying we have to win anything. But just start heading in that direction. What do you think, Stel?
I slightly disagree, right? I'll tell you why. We sacked Pochettino 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. He got us almost winning a Premier League and got us to a Champions League final. So progress, if you're the manager that did that, progress, speak that. Unless you do better than that, you haven't progressed, yet you sack the manager. And he never got the backing that we are currently backing managers with. And is close to spending 250 to 300 million pounds already. Okay, I
think he spent 270 million pounds still so far.
Right,
he's made he's made 11 signings.
So if we're going to keep doing this, then we must challenge for a league title, like he said, and get to a European final at minimum, and try and win it if we can. Obviously, we want to win it. That's the whole point of being in the cup or elite sport, is to win trophies. So don't do that. There's no progress from why did we sack Poch then? And Poch never got the revenues of what the stadium's generating, right? We moved to this stadium for what we were told, to compete with the best. So the best and surpass what Poch did. Otherwise, where is the progress? How have we progressed? I don't want to compare us to what Conte did and Nuno did. And we've got to stop doing that. We've got to compare it to what we were when we were at our peak. And our peak was under Poch. That's above that is progress for me. At least match it as a minimum. If we don't do that, then I just feel like, what's the point, Sava? I'm like, what are we hitting? What's the point?
But do you know what, Stel? I think there's two different things in play here. Whilst I don't disagree with you, I think there's so many different things. When you and I, who have very similar ethos, I think, on most things, when you and I turn around and say, we want to buy quality, right? And people go, no, we can't do that, and you expect too much. We're negative, right? We're negative saying that. But the manager comes out and says, I want to challenge for a title. Now, by default, to challenge for a title, you've got to buy quality. So we're asking for what the manager's telling us we're doing this year, but the manager's positive because he's saying nice things. We're negative because we're saying, okay, let's do that then. Let's buy some quality. That's where I find the whole hypocrisy in all of this still, is the manager says lots of nice things. Now, I want to know, do those fans hold Ange to those statements? Because listen, I'm not blaming Ange for everything that goes on at this football club at all. We all know how the club's run. But he doesn't help himself still, because he comes out and keeps talking about winning mentality, keeps talking about, I want to challenge for titles, right? Told us he wanted a new forward line. None of those things are happening. So why is Ange getting so much love and praise, but people who are saying, okay, go on then, back your words up with actions? Why are those people, i.e. me, you, others, why are we negative for holding them to account for what they've promised?
No, we're not negative. It's just people that had debated. What they do is they've got to label the other side to try and diminish any credibility that you have. That's what they do. The guy that put the comment up, Second Wheel, he's saying Ange and Poch both finished 5th in their first season. Poch also got to a cup final and crashed out of both finals. I'm sure Poch had Europe, Ange had no Europe. How much did Poch spend? Ange spent 220 million in his first season. So let's not compare the two. Poch had to completely rebuild. Ange inherited a half-decent team. So other than losing Kane, he inherited a half-decent team. So to compare them, I think it's not right. Do you know what my concern is, Sam? Tell me what you think. I've got this really worrying feeling that Ange thinks he can achieve greatness, but doing it without buying that proven, established. He thinks he can do it. I think he thinks he can do it a slightly different way. My worry is that's never been proven.
But no, okay, so let me paraphrase what I heard, right?
Not with Europe, not whilst playing in Europe. Because Leicester did it, but they had no football. They had no Europe,
let me tell you what I just heard you say in a roundabout way. So Ange thinks he can win a Premier League title with Spurs whilst signing the quality of players he would sign whilst he was at Celtic. we
kind of, yeah, a bit better, but not. Yeah, kind of
a bit better. Yeah. But one thing that I didn't even think about, and someone mentioned to me the other day, I thought was interesting. They said you've got to remember, Ange has never managed quality players. Now, I'm not being rude, but the caliber of player that you're going to get at Celtic and in Australia and in Japan, all right, you might get some good players, right? I'm not knocking all the players, but you're not managing the type of quality that you need to go and win a Premier League title, right? That's different, right? So for me, when we're seeing a lot of these players come in, this is the only reason why I think, hang on, does he want some of these? Like when I'm seeing Solomon come in and I'm thinking, what are we doing? Valise, what are we doing? You know, Werner. When you're seeing Bergvall and Gray as kids coming in, I just worry that he thinks he can do it because through sheer management and coaching, rather than actually having the quality players that can translate that on the pitch. And as I always say to everyone, saying nice things is great. I always say this about other YouTube. Saying nice things is great and makes them more popular. That's brilliant. But what about the actions to go with those words? There has to be actions to go with the words.
And he's going to be in for a big shock when best players start running out. And then we're going to have a repeat of what's happened in the past. Because let's be honest, if you're at Celtic, chances are you're not leaving Celtic because you're going to win trophies. And once you've won trophies, then you leave. But what does Ange care? Because he goes down as a manager who won at Celtic. At Tottenham, we're seen as a stepping stone. And players will always see it as a stepping stone unless we win silver. So if Ange doesn't win in the next year or two, like major honours, Romero will go. Real Madrid will come in and say, what? Van der Ven, 80 million. And Van der Ven, no one turns down Real Madrid. Nobody turns down Real Madrid, okay? Vicario, maybe he thinks, you know what? Juventus want me. I'll go back to Italy. And then we're screwed.
Yeah.
We're back to, this is why we must win trophies. And, you know, it's a what do you call it? A balancing act.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Look, listen, just quickly before we go, I mean, Petro, when you say what else can Ange do, listen, there's a huge difference between being positive and talking of challenging for titles. They're two hugely different things. For me, if Ange comes out and says, look, what's the aim of the club this year? Look, we finished 5th last year and we went out early in cups. This year, we're going to finish higher than 5th and we want to go deeper into the cups and have a good run in Europe. That's positive. Telling people we should challenge for the title, that's not instilling positivity. That's just saying nice things when we know in reality it can't happen. And it can't. It can't happen. You can't have this squad of footballers and want to win titles. You just can't. So when we say we would expect that from any manager, you can't just say we're going to challenge for titles without buying the players that match those words. And this is the whole thing with YouTube. This is the whole thing with fan bases. Say nice words. Oh, that's great. But you've got to have actions. You've got to implement those nice words.
Petro, I agree with you 100%. Ange needs to instill positivity. You're spot on. At the same time, I said it was a balancing act. There needs to be an element of realism. For example, you can tell your 9-man squad against Chelsea, high line, be positive, we can do it. But when you get spanked 4-1, where did that positivity get you, right? He instilled positivity. They did as they were told. They went for it. We got torn to pieces doing it. So be positive. There's got to be realism. We've got to be true to what we are. You can be the manager of Crystal Palace and say, believe we can win the league. We can do it. Leicester did it. The reality is, you're not going to win the league. It's not going to happen, right? Be positive, but be realistic with the tools you're playing with, the tools that you've got at your disposal. And this is where we lose it as a fan base. We completely lose our minds over this because we think, right, listen to what Anne said. We're going to win the quad. No, we're not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, listen, I am going to leave it there. It is very late over here in the United Kingdom. Stel, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much to everybody for the listen, sorry, I had to. I know I'm going to listen. Second wheel, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. I'm not going after people for spreading positivity, right? But it's what happens is those people who spread that fake positivity, are the ones. Oh my God, they're really good fans. They want what's best for the club. When I sit here and say things that are sensible, like we're not winning a title, people, oh, you're so negative. No, I'm not negative. They're not positive. That's not positivity. I can turn around to my wife and say, don't worry about work this week. We're winning the lottery on Saturday. It doesn't mean anything. I can say it. Doesn't mean I'm winning it. So all of this negative, positive, it's absolutely ridiculous. No, second wheel, I'm holding you to account. You told me the other day, right? This guy told me that Ange will be here in 9 years. He said, don't you worry. He'll be here in 9 years. Anyway, please go and subscribe to...
Sava,
go on.
So I didn't want to do this. I'm going to do it.
Go on.
All right. Second, number one, I don't care about positivity, although Ange needs to instill it. I care about reality, okay? I live in the real world, not a world where just think a certain way and things will happen. I like to live in the real world. Secondly, where you say go after the ownership, not the fans, I've been to every Levy out protest bar 2. I've been to all the major get Levy out of the club. The fans don't turn up and they don't take part in it. So therefore, do you want me to go after the owners because the fans don't come and do something about it? No, that's on the fans. So I hear you, but it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's my defense piece. From me.
And listen, I don't do the protest, but I won't give Daniel Levy any money. I mean, that's all I can say. I won't give him any money. Anyway, listen, Stel, thanks very much. Listen, everybody, please smash the like button on your way out. Please go over. We're 4 away from 200 likes. Please go over and subscribe to Tottenham Away. Subscribe to Football Heritage TV. We'll have more content for you this week. Please don't forget about the charity. There's 230 people in here. If everyone put £1 into the charity or £2, we make a lot of money very quickly. The link is in the chat. I'm going to show you here. Here it is. Some £1. This is to prevent suicide in men. Like, forget football, forget arguing fans and positive and negative. This is to stop suicide in men. This is a brilliant charity. It's called Andy's Man Club. Please, please, please click on the link. Let's see who's going to donate for the right things. Much love, everyone.
Sava,
go on.
Could I, before we wrap up, I just want to say to everyone watching the show, I haven't told too many people about this, but recently I seek some professional help because I didn't realize, but I actually had some mental matters that needed attention. And luckily, someone recognized it and they guided me into doing it. And I tell you what, mental health, I didn't have a severe situation, but it was enough to go get some help. And the worst thing about mental health is most people, they don't even realize it. So this is a fantastic cause. Get behind it. Make sure you're there on the weekend, especially for men. There's a lot of young men who take their lives because of this stuff, and it's not right. So Saba's doing a great thing with this show. And Brian Daigle, I'm going to give a shout to him as well. He's done a lot of stuff for mental health. So
yeah,
get behind it, people.
Yeah, man, listen, we not £1 donated to it tonight. Not £1. You think about it. At one point, we had 355 people in here. £1. Think about that. This is a real good charity. Anyway, listen, take care. Stel will be joining me at some point over the weekend, I'm sure. Brian Daigle will be joining me for sure. Loads of other people as well. Take care, everyone. And as always, come on, you Spurs, and sack Gareth Southgate.
Absolutely.